Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and wherever you're watching in the world, welcome along to the Vortex Racing Cup here for rounds 1 and 2, which takes us first to the British Grand Prix, then the Japanese Grand Prix. My name is Kieran McGinley, and it's great to have you along with us for this one. I just realised I'm not in a party, so that might be an issue. Yeah. 2 seconds, otherwise I've done this before where I've basically been in a party, or not been in a party I should say, and yeah, I did a one-shot qualifying with that and annoyed about 60% of the drivers, so that was good. Now I'm in a party, now they can't hear me, now it's just us now, don't worry about it. So rounds 1 and 2, British Grand Prix and the Japanese Grand Prix. If you haven't seen so far the information about this cup, this Elite Vortex Cup that we're going on with tonight, well, there's 5 teams with us tonight that are going to be trying to prove that they are the best team out of this lot. So VRT, they will have a Red Bull and a Williams at their disposal for the next couple of weeks. VSR have a Racing Point and an Alfa Romeo at their disposal. Mentalist, I think it's Mentalism, abbreviated to MNT. They have a Toro Rosso and a McLaren at their disposal. R70 have a Renault and a Ferrari, and Livid Racing have a Mercedes and a Haas. So here's what the calendar looks like. Of course, today we're going to round 1 and round 2. So the first round is at the British Grand Prix. Then we have the Japanese Grand Prix as the second round of this cup. Then we go to the 20th of May, so 2 weeks' time. Round 3 will be at USA, with the season finale at the 4th round at the Brazilian Grand Prix. Having a look at the sort of lobby settings, 25% races, one-shot qualifying, dynamic weather, official start time, parc ferme rules of course are on, as to our collisions. Most of note, safety car is turned off for this one. And it looks like there's going to be strict corner cutting. Those are the big ones to really point out to you tonight. And with this competition, there is an alternate point scoring system. Every single position, as long as you make the checkered flag, will score points for your team, and the point system looks as follows. First place will score 30 points, second place 26, third place 23, fourth place will score 20 points, fifth place scoring 18, sixth place scoring 16, seventh place scoring 14, and then goes down in 1 point increments all the way down to 20th place, scoring the single lone 1 point. So the important thing is it is consistency that's going to be rewarded, especially in this type of competition. It's short, sharp races, but you've got to work as a team in order to get those moves done. Just having a look at the setup here. Obviously, make sure you do follow the 4 teams here at VRT_racing, R70 team, that's their at team_mentalism, at Visceral Racing, and at Livid Motorsport. And if you really, really desperately want to, you can follow me on Twitter. It's at KS McGinley. Good luck spelling it though. It's near impossible. But hopefully you will enjoy a great night's worth of racing, and hopefully you'll be able to see everything that's on, everything that's going to happen here tonight. I really hope you're going to enjoy this one. I hope it's going to be really exciting racing. And the British Grand Prix, obviously, it's one of those old school tracks where it has corner names rather than numbers. Well, okay, it does have numbers, but you know what I mean. It's one of those great tracks, historic tracks that prioritises corner names. So ever since the renovations, I should say, back in, I think it was 2012, 2013, the renovations came through, because I think 2012 was the first race they run at the new modified circuit, but it was using the old start-finish line because the pit lane wasn't ready yet. Then the season afterwards, then they moved on to the full-fledged circuit that we now know today. I could be a year out with those estimates, but obviously years aren't my great thing. But yeah, the British Grand Prix then. We have 18 corners taking us around this legendary circuit, which has been in and around the calendar since the very start. It was the very first Grand Prix in Formula One Championship history. So it's got a bit of heritage behind it, that is for sure. And with that modification, Turn 1 now takes you through Farm, then through Abbey, onwards then towards the Loop, which then takes you down the Wellington Straight, where you join an Aintree, and then onto Luffield and that section there. So it is a very modified circuit. The old turn 1, which is Copse Corner, is now turn 9, and then of course you've got that legendary Maggots, Becketts and Chapel section before you head down towards Stowe Corner, down the Hanger Straight, which has been on part and parcel of the circuit pretty much, the Hanger Straight and Stowe Corner, ever since it's been introduced to the calendar. So Maggots and Becketts looks a lot different than it did in 1950. The circuit used to take a left, go all the way across, then it would be a long right-hander, almost having to go down to about, well, in those days it would have been about third gear, but yeah, it looks a lot different now. It's very high speed, that chicane section, but to be honest with you, it has been a fantastic joy to watch. I mean, I've been there myself before the circuit got renovated, before it was changed into what it is currently now. I was sat at the Club Corner section, which of course nowadays is the final corner of the track. But you know, back then it was halfway around the circuit, so I hope you are going to enjoy this one. We are a couple of moments away from getting this one underway, so let's hope it's sooner rather than later. Let's have a look and see here. I do have a lineup with me, but of course, if you know these type of invitational events, you'll know that the reserves are used quite a bit because there's last minute changes and all that stuff. But VRT are lining up like this. They've got Forbes, Sam, Shapalele and Jordan, with Lickle as a reserve, and I can see Lickle's in a Williams, so we'll work out who he's replaced later on. For Livid, we've got Ventink, Sem, Deneen and Donev, with Cohen as a reserve. For VSR, we have Ashbest, Onyx, Prinens and Vasta Racer. They don't have a reserve currently in their lineup. MNT have Frederick, LeBron, Lewis, Marvin and Saab. That could be Louis, because Mentalism is a French-based team, so it could be Louis. Please do correct me if it's wrong. I know a Lewis that's spelt the same way, so 50-50 chance of me getting it wrong. And R70, they've got Gabri, KPI, Fire, Huerta, and their reserve is Kaiser on the reserves bench there. So looking pretty strong. Obviously, I know some of these drivers. If you don't know me already, I do know quite a few of these drivers. Quick drivers, that is for sure. And great teams as well. Team Mentalism, you know, they've got a strong team behind them, a strong following as well. Livid Racing, VSR, VRT, R70. You know, they're all strong teams. So they'll be looking to put their strongest foot forward for the first race of the event. And just because you don't have a great start, it does not mean entirely that it's not going to finish well at all. Just stay in the running, stay consistent, stay in the points where you can. And the bonus points is that every position scored, or every position you finish in, is a point scoring position. Now, when it comes to quick maths, I think people know that I'm not the greatest at it, but I will try and keep tabs on what's going on. You become so well adjusted to the top 10 scoring the points that you kind of know what the gap points are. That's how I work it out. Basically, what's the gap before? What's it now? Okay, so that's what it is. With an alternate point scoring system, I've been doing my best to revise and see how it goes. But 30 points for the winner is going to throw me off. I can guarantee you that at least a couple of times. But let us know who you're supporting in the chat here tonight. Maybe you're here for your team entirely. Maybe you're one of the reserves waiting and seeing if you need to be, or if you need to be primed and ready to get going in this one. Maybe that's you. Let us know who you're supporting here tonight. So it looks like we've got 18 drivers in this lobby so far, so not too far away from getting this one underway. And of course it is 5 teams of 4 drivers each, because of course that equals 20. I do get that mixed up. You can guarantee I will get that mixed up at some point again here tonight, but I'm really looking forward to some great racing. It has been a long time since it's the first time I've been asked to do the VRT Cup, so that's amazing. So I just like to thank the guys there for inviting me into the commentary box and letting loose. You don't know what you're in for. It is a bad decision. I'm joking, or am I? No, the British Grand Prix is coming up next. You can see a lot of drivers waiting and pretty much wanting to get this one underway. Like I said about the Silverstone circuit, its first Grand Prix was back in 1950 with a circuit length of 5.891 kilometres. Obviously 25% of this one, so that's 13 laps if my maths precedes me well. So we're looking at a total race distance of around about 72 kilometres. The actual lap record was a 1:27.369 set last season by Lewis Hamilton. And, well, of course, it's a disused airfield, of course, if you didn't know, Silverstone, lying on the perimeter road of RAF Silverstone. And that's how it got its name, in 1942. Yeah, obviously it's a corner or a track that used to have 8 corners. Now it has 18, so they've added 10 corners in the past 50, 60 years. So, incredible job. By the way, if you ever get a chance to go to Silverstone, do. Lots of people say, I have seen on Twitter recently, there's podcasts and that going up saying, Silverstone's such an overrated circuit. I don't think that, especially when you're there. It's definitely not. It's got one of the best atmospheres on the grid, for sure. And the fact that it hosted the very first Formula 1 Grand Prix in its history, I should say Championship Formula 1 Grand Prix, it's got a little bit of history behind it, that heritage behind it that some tracks kind of lack, especially the modern day circuits. So definitely go to Silverstone if you get a chance. We're waiting for one more driver, and what helps me here is that the majority of the drivers, if not all, have their team name at the start of their gamer tag here, which is great, because now I get to instantly Casper I know is for VSR, if you didn't know that already. But that's pretty much it. So we've got how many R70 guys? I think we're waiting on one more R70 driver. Yeah, because there's only 3 of them at the moment. So yeah, Casper's the only one that doesn't have VSR in front of his name, and he's the only one that doesn't have a team in front of his name. So let's maths it's not on my CV. I never put quick maths on my CV. I never have, and I never will. But hopefully you'll enjoy this one. Hopefully you'll enjoy me in the box. Hopefully I won't, wear out on you and decide to you decide to just switch off. Nah, don't worry about it. Let's have a look at the chat for the first time. Hello chat, how are you doing? Frederick saying F to my internet. Oh, that's not good. That's not a great start. VRT win incoming. Ooh, VSR domination incoming. lots of people saying everyone's up for domination. So let's see which one of you are right. Don't forget as well, each team has their own hashtag. So make sure you promote the team there. Give your support, and there you go, there's the last R70 driver. Super Mario joins in, and I believe he will be able to take the start, but at the back of the grid. So that's what's going to happen there. Darkbolt in the chat, hello. How are you? Callum in the chat there saying excited for Ash's team event debut. Well, what a way to do it. It's going to be an interesting one. I think it's going to be an interesting one for everybody. I hope it sticks. Normally you'd go flat out through here. Again, Lickle opting to stay in 7th gear. Lifted off the throttle there as he made his way through. As we now make our way through Maggots and Beckett. Making our way towards Chapel. Such an awesome set of corners. If you get the setup right, you're always constantly going down the gears to make sure you have enough grip through the corner. Then it's down the hanger straight underneath the billboard there on towards Cops Corner, which you can see coming from a mile away. But it's always really good when you nail this corner. Try not to miss the apex. Don't run too far wide, otherwise you can get those warnings. It does allow some leeway there. In towards the final part of the section now. In towards that club section. Now in towards the final corner as we make our way towards the line. Casper looks like he's going to take pole position, which he does, a 25.9, and that gives VSR a 1-2 heading into this race. Casper then gets the first pole position of the night, but of course there's no points available for qualifying. It's all to do it in the race, and remember, if the car does not finish, then the team does not score those points. Casper then taking pole position ahead of his teammate Faster Racer by just over a tenth of a second. Shapalele in 3rd with Jordan in 4th. Lickle in 5th. Onyx 6th. Sem in 7th. Forbes in 8th. Ashbest in 9th. And LeBron rounds out the top 10. Louis in 11th. Donev in 12th. Sab in 13th. Venting 14th. Marvin 15th. Deneen in 16th. Gabri 17th. Huerta 18th. And Kaiser got his lap invalidated. He will be starting at the back of the grid. Not a great start for the R70 team. They'll be occupying the back 4 spaces, so they'll be hoping to get a better run going in towards the race. But other than that, the VSR and VRT guys lock out the top 4. 2 VSR cars on the front row, then 2 VRT cars occupying the second row on the grid there. So we shall see how it all goes down. And let's have a look and see what the grid, well, fingers crossed, what everything's going to be like. Let's have a look. Dry weather. So there you go. That's what's going to happen here tonight. Hopefully dry strategies. Hopefully everything's okay on the stream end. I have seen someone say, did it crash? I hope not. Otherwise, you wouldn't hear my lovely voice. But counting down now towards the first race of tonight. Of course, we have the Japanese Grand Prix coming up later on, so make sure you do stick around for that one as well. Try and support your team whenever you can. And this is a time then for all the drivers to really finalise their setups. As you can see there, Mario will be taking the start, but he will be at the back of the grid because he didn't take part in qualifying. He joined slightly late, so we started without him. He joined in, but he'll be starting at the back. So for R70 then, it's not the start they wanted at all. The fact that they're occupying the back 2 rows on this grid. But we get underway for the formation lap then. And let's see how it all goes down then. The top 10 obviously have to start on the tyre they qualified on in that one-shot qualifying. And then you've got a load of strategy changes outside of the top 10. Louis for Mentalism there in 11th place. He'll be starting on a set of the medium tyres. Let's see if we can ride on board with him. There you go, the medium tyres there for Louis. You've got Saab then also for Mentalism on the medium tyre. And then you've got 3 of the R70 cars at the back of the grid. Gabri, Huerta and Mario all starting on a set of those medium tyres, looking to go longer into this race. Obviously, you're looking really for the medium to soft run. That's pretty much it for a 25% race. Tyre wear can be a little bit aggressive around here if you haven't got the right strategy. But outside of the top 10, Donev, Bentig, Marvin, Deneen and Kaiser all outside and starting on those soft tyres. So they're looking to just get and hit the ground running, basically. We shall see how it all goes down then. So let's have a look then. Let's see your predictions for the race 1 winner. Of course, a driver from a team could win all 4 races, but they've got to help and rely on their teammates as well to score the vital points. So it's all well and good, for example, if Casper wins all 4 races, but if his teammates don't perform, then VSR won't win. It's as simple as that. The points are designed so that it's rewarded by consistency rather than one driver from a team running away with it and the others can't really keep up. So Casper will start on pole position for the first race of tonight. Vasta Racer in 2nd, Shapalele 3rd, with Polska in 4th and Lickle Blocks in 5th place, with the R70 cars looking to try and make the best of this start as they occupy the back 2 rows. Casper then makes his way around the final corner and onwards now towards the starting grid for the first round here of the Vortex Racing Cup. Lining up onto the grid is Casper, Vasta Racer, his teammate, right behind. I wonder if there's going to be communication there. All 5 teams, I should say, will be in their own separate parties. Maybe even some of them have a race engineer to keep them on track and on board. But we are moments away now from the first round of the Vortex Racing Cup here at the British Grand Prix. And it looks like we're going to get some fake red lights first. It's 5 red lights to begin with, and then they disappear. We've now got to work out when on earth this race is going to start. Have a look at the bottom right. You can see the clutch is engaged. We're ready to go. And we are underway. What are the starts like? It's a good start from the VSR cars at the back. The second row get away as well in towards turn 1. Can they all keep it clean through here then? Looks like there's a Williams off in the background, it kind of looked like. Sem is up a position then. He's past Forbes as we make our way now in towards turn 3. Now this is where you can see carbon fibre all over the place if you're not careful. Having a look through now. There's a Haas there of Sem side by side with Forbes as they make their way through Aintree. Now on towards the Wellington Straight. And Forbes there you can see holds on around the outside. Everybody has made it through the starting sequence so far, but we've got Onyx tries to move up the inside of Polska, and Onyx there in trying to get past. It looks like he's going to try and get past by Lickle there, and Lickle and Onyx make contact going through the right hander there of Luffield as we now make our way on towards Copse Corner. Surely don't go side by side through here. Jordan makes his way through, and Lickle Blocks makes a move up the inside as well. Great move from those two. Meanwhile, Forbes is right behind as well, as Onyx is on his left, but he has to back out of that one. Onyx has really struggled off the start here. He's got to try and keep his head as he tries to make his way through. He's lost a couple of positions though. Ash Best is struggling as well. He's fallen down to 11th place. He must have made a mistake going through Maggots and Beckett's there, because look at this. There's a Mercedes eventing all over the back of him now, looking up the inside at Copse Corner. Is there enough room? There's a little bit of contact, and the racing point of Ash Best is around, and one of the R70 cars collected him there. Was that Huerta? I think it was. He's diving straight into the pit lane now, locking up those tyres as he tries to get in. It's the longest and slowest pit lane on this game. It really is painfully slow, which is why you really don't want to come away with front wing damage. 3 cars in the pit lane, Huerta, Gabri and Ash Best. But Casper leads the way from Chapelele. Vasta Racer drops a position from the start. Jordan Polska up to 4th place. Lickleblix up to 5th. Lickleblocks up to 5th. Onyx in 6th with Forbes in 7th. Sem in 8th with LeBron in 9th. Donev is in 10th place. Ventink in 11th with Marvin 12th. Louis in 13th. Deneen 14th. Seb in 15th. Kaiser 16th. Super Mario 17th with Gabri, Huerta and Ashbest currently all in the pits. It looks like they're going to leave in that order. But second lap here, we've already had cars into the pits. But remember, all the positions are points scoring positions. That's the most important thing. As long as you get your car to the checkered flag, you will score points for your team. Riding on board with Vasta Racer then as he tries to chase down Chapelele. Casper looks to just try and make the move and try and get away. Donev, meanwhile, has moved up a position ahead of LeBron just before Maggots and Beckett's there. Really got the drag in. LeBron has cut the corner there. He must have lost the back end. Does he have damage on that car, I wonder? Yes, he does. Left-hand side. That's why he backed out and pretty much bailed out on the right-hander of Chapel there. But there you go. Venting gets a move up the inside. And the Toro Rosso of the Mentalism car, you can see already how much he's struggling for aero then as we head in towards the club corner section. Yeah, he's really struggling, isn't he, for that grip through the high-speed corners. And the unfortunate thing about Silverstone is there's a lot of those. Lap 3 of this Grand Prix, DRS enabled then. Lickleblocks trying to close in on Jordan Polska there as we make the way towards turn 3. Casper's got a steady lead over Chapelele at the moment, but what about team orders here? Does Jordan let Lickle go, or does Lickle try and find a way through on his own terms then? Down the Wellington Straight we go, and he'll look for a move then. Yep, you can see there the teammates do not cause each other much fuss, and Lickleblocks moves up the inside and ahead, but he gets it a little bit wrong there, runs wide, and Onyx says thank you very much, I'll take that position. You can see now he's got the outer line, so in theory he should have the better traction, but they're going to run side by side now as we head through that long right-hander onwards towards Copse Corner we go then. Polska's just got a nose ahead. Onyx knows he's beaten there, has to back out of it and maybe try a little bit of a switchback on the exit of Copse Corner, but no such move exists unfortunately for him. But Onyx now falls down to 6th place. Meanwhile, then Vasta Racer has tried to close in on Chapelele. Meanwhile, Chapelele is just trying to keep close tabs on the race leader, Casper. Forbes, meanwhile, is under pressure from Sem then as we head away down towards Copse Corner. Sem trying to go round the outside is the highest placed Livid racing car at this moment in time. Look at this. He's going to try a switchback here. You can see Forbes ran a little bit wide there. You can take liberties with that. Sem thought about a move down the inside there, but no such move existed. The door was fully shut and Forbes made sure he locked the door on his way out. Ventic, meanwhile, behind his teammate Donev, sorry, as we round our way through. Kaiser then is in 13th place. It's a good start from him, actually. He's the highest running R70 car, considering he was occupying one of the two back rows there. He's done well to recover so far. Meanwhile, Louis, Sab, we've got Super Mario. They've all stopped there. Louis especially are now onto the soft tyres. Forbes, meanwhile, looking at the back of Onyx, and Chapelele has done well to close back in. No doubt helped with a little bit of DRS. That's helped keeping in touch there. But the top 3 have really got away from Lickleblocks here. Polska is trying to keep up with his teammate then, but also trying not to be held up by him as well. That's always the way, isn't it, in a team event? You want to let the teammate through because you think it'll help, but sometimes it can work the opposite way, because Onyx, Forbes and Sem here will all be eager to take full advantage if they can. Riding aboard with the top 3 then, Casper leads the way for VSR. It's Chapelele in 2nd for VRT. Vasta Racer in 3rd here. He's got some DRS, but so too does Chapelele as we make our way now down towards Stowe Corner. And you can see there, Vasta Racer trying to take a different line. Didn't quite work. Now to the 2 VRT cars in the Williams here have a dilemma to make. Well, that dilemma pretty much sorted itself out because Chapelele and Lickle are both into the pits. And with this event, of course, because they're occupying 2 cars each, each, or 2 constructors each, I should say, there is a sense of communication. So only really 2 cars from each team can pit at the same time. But at least it's better than nothing. So Shapalele, Lickle, Onyx, Sem, Donev all into the pits alongside Marvin as well. That's going to move Kaiser now up to 7th place as he looks to try and close in on Deneen, then through turn 2 and then onwards towards turn 3. So Casper still holds the lead. Then Vasta Racer is in 2nd place. Interesting to see how the strategies work out. Then Shapalele is going to be one of the lead cars, then leaving the pit lane on the set of the medium tyres, and he rejoins in much more clear air than maybe the others. Lickle Blocks here might be struggling with traffic, maybe Onyx too. They look like they're getting ahead of this traffic here. Donev, meanwhile though, will rejoin behind Louis. So at least Louis there gets ahead of a car, but he's on 2-lap-old soft tyres. We'll have to see how he's affected towards the end of this race. Sab and Marvin there rejoin pretty much on the same piece of track, the 2 teammates. They've got to decide which one will be the quicker strategy in the long run. Meanwhile then, going through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel here. DRS wide open for Vasta Racer as he looks to try and close in on his teammate Casper. Now if these 2 start battling, they're going to cost time to the Vortex cars behind as well. So they've got to keep their wits about them. They've got to work together. And I wonder if they pit in at the same time. No, Casper comes in. Vasta Racer stays out. So meanwhile then, Jordan will come into the pit lane. So too will Forbes. Ventink also comes into the pit lane. How about Deneen and Kaiser? Will their battle continue on for another lap as Vasta Racer sets the fastest lap of the race? No doubt there with a little bit of help with DRS, but that's going to be a little bit of a warning shot because he is quicker now, or at least he's quick on those soft tyres. We'll have to see from the likes of Onyx, from the likes of Lickle Blocks, from the likes of Shapalele about how these tyres, these medium tyres, will fare towards the end of this race. So that's Casper, Jordan, Forbes, Venting and Deneen all coming into the pits then to put on a fresh set of medium tyres. Now, where will they rejoin then? Casper is just making his way towards the end of the pit lane. Where is Shapalele? There he is then, making his way through turn 1, and there you can see Casper's rejoined a long way ahead there. And it'll be eager to see what the timing is like on those screens there. 9/10 of a second ahead there. And Polska's rejoined ahead of Lickle, just about rejoined ahead of him with Onyx hot on the 2 Williams' tails. Forbes then is now down a position because Onyx actually moved past him. You can see the arrows there working their magic on the left-hand side. Forbes then looking for a move down the inside as we head towards the fast left-hander here, trying to chuck it down the inside. Does he get the move done? A little bit of contact between them as we now head through that long right-hander now as Onyx tries to move to the inside. Forbes, in theory, on the outside will have the better traction, but that's it. Onyx gets the move done then. A little bit of lag, but Forbes is surely not looking for a move down towards Copse Corner. No, he doesn't. Takes a little bit of curb, so too does Onyx in front of him. So easy to end up following the line of the person you're trying to chase down. Vasta Racer then into the pit lane then from what has been the lead. Kaiser will follow suit then, so they've opted to go for longer stints to begin with, and let's see how they go. But Kaiser gets himself a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So Casper and Shapalele know that they've had to put in laps here to get themselves ahead. Where will Vasta Racer rejoin? Has the overcut worked, I wonder? Kaiser's into the pits. There is Casper then, who these 2 are running side by side pretty much, but they had Shapalele between them. There you can see Casper's just gone purple through the 3rd sector, and he does take the race lead. Oh, Onyx struggling for grip and traction on the exit of pit lane. Somehow, he still rejoins ahead of Shapalele, but that extra lap must have helped him, especially fastest lap of the race there. But Shapalele will be absolutely furious with that one because he's rejoined behind the 2 VSR cars. Mario then rejoins ahead of his teammate Kaiser, who just rejoins ahead of LeBron then as we make our way in towards turn 4. And you can see LeBron here looking for a move up the inside. Not quite there so far. Fast left-hander on towards the Wellington straight. You can see here LeBron gets a much better run through there, and with DRS that should be his hands rubbing together and he should get that move done. Meanwhile, Deneen takes advantage there of Kaiser, who leaves the door wide open, and Deneen now for Livid Racing gets another position under his belt. Huerta then is in 18th place so far, but of course 2 of the R70 cars had to pit in early for damage to their front wings. That was Huerta and Gabri. Meanwhile, Ash Best then on a set of the soft tyres. I don't know if these soft tyres are going to make it to the end. That's the only problem as we make our way through Copse Corner. He'll have to be very careful if he wants to get those tyres to the end of this race. Let's have a look at some battles here. Look at this train from Lickle all the way down to, I believe that's going to be Venting in 11th place. 4th to 11th covered in that one camera shot then. Here we go in towards the final couple of corners then on this lap. Lap number 8 this will become as they make their way through the final corner. Shapalele is closing in on Vasta Racer just bit by bit. And Vasta Racer's lost ground on his teammate Casper up ahead. Onyx riding on board with now as he's trying to look for a move down the inside of maybe Jordan, but he's a little bit too far back here. Just trying to see which of these drivers is going to make the move. Louis here is a little bit of an outlier. He's on 5-lap-old soft tyres, and I don't know. Let's have a look at his stops here. As, he has stopped, of course, but he's on the set of soft tyres, which I don't think are going to get him to the end of this race. So we'll have to wait and see how that strategy unfolds. But then, of course, when it comes to strategy, there's a reason I'm in the box and these guys are out on the track. They're clearly better at it than I am. Onyx still trying to chase down the 2 VRT cars in those Williams as we make our way towards Copse Corner. You can see there Louis in the background just keeping tabs on the cars around him at this moment in time. But I wonder if those soft tyres are going to fall off the cliff. Jordan then making his way through Maggots, then through Beckett's here as he looks to try and get away past Lickle. Making our way now through Beckett's there on towards Chapel in the DRS zone. Gabri a 3-second time penalty. Here comes Jordan then moving to the right hand side. The two teammates don't bother each other too much. And that is Lickle letting Jordan go, basically, as now Onyx wants to try and do the same, although he knows Lickle won't make it that easy for Onyx if he tries a move there. Forbes is right behind as well, so Onyx is in a little bit of a sandwich here. He's got Lickle blocked ahead of him, Forbes behind him, both VRT cars. We've got a Haas around at Copse Corner, and it is Deneen. Let's see, does he have damage to that car? No, he doesn't. So he has recovered without any damage, but he rejoins in 20th place. As we keep saying, though, it's really important to make sure your car gets to the checkered flag and you will score points for your team. Sem then, it was looking to try and take advantage of Forbes there. It looked like he made a mistake, but in the end, no, he hadn't. Onyx, meanwhile, still, look at that, staying in 7th gear. They're just really trying to rev the engine because they know if they switch up to 8th gear, they could lose momentum. It's quite a weird way to look at it. Forbes looking up the inside of Onyx there. He knew he left the door open but lost the back end on the exit. Here comes Sem, though, who will look for a move towards Copse Corner. Will he try and move up the inside? No, you can see he's backed out of that one. Knew the move wasn't on, but is looking to put that Red Bull under a lot of serious pressure then as we make our way now through Maggots, through Beckett, and let's see what happens here. Right on the back of Forbes here. Now, of course, at some point, the dirty air is going to have a huge effect. It's going to wear on the tyres a lot more. Shapalele, meanwhile, has lost ground on Vasta Racer. Big ground as well. Last time I checked that was 9/10 of a second. It's now over 3 seconds. So he's lost a huge chunk of time somewhere. The two Williams, Onyx there, taking liberties with the lenient track limits there on the exit of Stowe Corner. And, of course, if the stewards aren't going to punish you for it, you might as well go for it. LeBron, meanwhile, gets ahead of... That is Mario there, and he had Mario on his outside. Now Mario tries to switch back then in towards the final set of corners. Through Club Corner we go, and LeBron gets the move done, or does he? Mario still on the inside through the final corner there. Oh, they touch there, and Mario has to back out of that one. LeBron gets the move done. He moves up to 14th place now, in through turns 1 and 2. That's not over for Mario. He knows that. In towards turn 3. You can see there, LeBron sort of left the door open, and it's those half-hearted moves that can really cost you. The two Mercedes then of Livid Racing trying to go side by side. Onyx, meanwhile, battling away with Forbes. They touch then, going through the right-hander, just touching there. But you can see Onyx still on the outside. Forbes has to tuck in behind for now. Donev trying to hold off his teammate here. Livid have got to keep a hold of themselves here. They don't want to be battling too much. They might lose too much ground, especially on Louis ahead of them. Forbes, meanwhile, is still trying to find that way past Onyx. Ventink here wants to get that move past Donek. No doubt in those party chats, Ventink will be screaming at Donev, let me through, let me through. That's probably what he's saying. Meanwhile, then Forbes has got a DRS run on Onyx here, and you can see he's closing bit by bit as we head towards Copse Corner. I don't think it's going to be enough to try and move down the inside. It's not quite that corner there. I thought Forbes was running wide, but his internet got him back into place as we now make our way in towards the final section. Lap 11 then out of 13. 3 laps to go. Casper leads from Vasta Racer in second, Shapalele in third, Jordan fourth, with Lickle in fifth. Onyx has dropped away a little bit in 6th with Forbes in 7th. Sem in 8th with Louis 9th. Donev in 10th. Ventic 11th. Sub in 12th with Marvin 13th. LeBron 14th. Mario 15th. Huerta in 16th. Kaiser 17th. Ashbest 18th. Gabri 19th. And Deneen in 20th place right now. But of course, all these positions, so long as you make it to the checker flag, they all score points. It really does encourage drivers to make it to the end, even if they've had the worst race of their lives, which I'm sure the R70 guys will be cursing their luck in this one. They were down a driver in qualifying, so they pretty much occupied the final 2 rows on the grid, but they have moved up positions: 15th, 16th, 17th and 19th. Okay, it won't be the greatest start, but it could be a lot worse. Now making our way on towards Copse Corner, following Sem all the way through. Forbes then are trying to get past Onyx. He's fallen back a little bit. DRS will help him, but of course not as much as it would, because Onyx will also have the DRS on the 2 Williams ahead. This is where tyre wear it starts to become a bigger factor. Huerta gets himself a 3-second time penalty there as we make our way all the way down the hanger straight onwards towards Stowe Corner. The Williams are starting to work together. Jordan's just ahead of Lickle here. Of course, it is a team event, not a driver event, so it really encourages drivers to work together in order to score the most points possible. In fact, VRT occupying 3rd, 4th, 5th and 7th. Meanwhile, VSR scoring 1st, 3rd, 6th and 17th, as Huerta and Ashbest are battling away here. There's a little bit of front wing end plate off there. Whose was that, I wonder? That looked a little red to me, so it could have been a Ferrari ahead. Meanwhile, then, the 2 go side by side. Internet wants to play as well, but Kaiser has to back out of that one. Ashbest moves up a position. He moves up to 16th place in what has not been the greatest start for him so far tonight. Making our way now on board with Forbes in towards the 2nd sector, all the way through the long right-hander of Luffield. And then trying to get the exit spot on. You can see there Forbes a little bit twitchy on the exit there. But he should be able to keep his momentum as long as he stays in the slipstream of Onyx. Onyx, meanwhile, still within a second behind Lickle, so he'll still have that DRS to help defend against Forbes behind him. But strong start here from VRT. They're 3rd, 4th, 5th and 7th at the moment. So in my mind, they're going to be the point scorers and the leading point scorers. If it finishes now, of course, Casper will be 30 points. Vasta Racer will... it's an alternate point system, and it's not a point system. I've got to try and make sure I get absolutely spot on. Ventic then gets away past Donev, and is that move a little bit too late there? You can see the drivers really taking liberties with the exit of Copse Corner there. Of course, it wasn't just venting. That'd be a bit harsh to say. I think all drivers that know they can take liberties there have taken liberties. Final lap of the race then here. First round. And Casper leads the way from Vasta Racer. Chapelele really has dropped back. Jordan's now only 1.2 behind him. Is there a late chance for Onyx to try and steal some points here away from VRT? Well, with Forbes right behind him, he'll be focused on keeping hold of 6th place for now. Sem, the highest livid car right now, making his way on towards the Wellington Straight. Just a little bit too far back from Forbes in my mind. Lickle still trying to make a way. Just keeping behind his teammate, keeping him on tabs for now. As we now make our way through Luffield for the final time. You can see there Casper making his way through Copse and onwards now towards Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel, with his teammate only 1.7 behind. Chapelele's 5.5 behind Vasta Racer, so the tyres there clearly haven't held on for as long as Chapelele would like, and the performance there is starting to hit him. He has fallen into the clutches of Jordan here. And will that Williams ahead have DRS? He will, you know. Making our way now down the hanger straight and onwards towards Copse Corner. I don't think it's going to be enough for Jordan to try and close in, but there's battling going on behind. Onyx trying to hold off the Red Bull of Forbes then. They go side by side all the way through. But meanwhile then, Casper does take the checkered flag at the first round of the Cup. Vasta Racer makes it a VSR 1-2, but Chapelele will come around the final corner. It's VRT 3-4-5. Onyx crosses the line in 6th. Forbes, though, drops all the way down to 8th place with Sem up to 7th, Venting 8th, and Forbes is still dropping down the table. Louis in 9th, Forbes 10th, Sab in 11th place with Donev in 12th. There you can see LeBron now crosses the line in 14th. Marvin, although, was 13th. Mario there, 11-lap-old soft tyres. I'm not sure I believe that one. He's finished in 15th. Ashbest 16th, recovering from that one. Kaiser in 17th. Deneen will cross the line eventually in 18th place, jumps up to 17th. Kaiser down to 18th. Gabri finishing in 19th. And you can see Huerta is still making his way all the way down that hangar straight onwards towards Stowe. But at least he will finish. He's tried to go for the fastest lap of the race here because he's pitted late on in this one as he now makes his way towards the final couple of corners in towards that club section. And he will pick up some valuable points that R70 might find useful in the coming rounds. But race winner for this round of the championship, it is going to be Casper, but the point system here doesn't necessarily mean VSR are on top. Well, there you have it then, the podium here, which has 2 VSR drivers on it so far. A VRT driver on that third step as well. But Casper wins the British Grand Prix and makes it a VSR 1-2. But of course, there's so much more to that story. Although VSR got multiple cars in that top 10, which they got 2 of them on the winning spot there, that doesn't necessarily mean they're in control of this one. Not by a long shot. But we will move on to the standings in a moment. But here are your unofficial results. Casper then wins the race with Vasta Racer in second place, Chapelele in third, with Jordan fourth, Lickle in fifth, Onyx there is in 6th place. It's Sem in 7th place with Ventink in 8th. I'm having to write this down as I go just to make sure I can give you some idea of what's going on. Louis there in 9th place. That's going to score him 12 points. There you can see Forbes then in 10th place. So that's all the VRT cars decided. Then we have Sab in 11th place. And that's going to score him 10 points. Donev in 12th. Well, that's 9 points. Marvin in 13th place, so that's 8 points. LeBron in 14th place, that's 7 points. Super Mario there in 15th, so that's 6 points. Ashbest in 16th, that's going to be 5 points. Deneen in... Oh, I missed it. Oh, well. It was Deneen in 17th place, that was going to be 4 points there. And then we have the R70... crew at the back there scoring 3, 2 and 1 respectively. So at this moment in time we'll move on to the Japanese Grand Prix and I'll give you some idea of how it's all going to go down. Obviously R70 getting a couple more points than obviously we thought they were going to do. They did recover well at the end there, and especially Mario there trying to go 11 laps on a set of soft tyres. Just incredible really how he got those tyres to the end. So let's have a look and see what's going on here then. Hopefully you did enjoy that race. We have Japan coming up in just a couple of minutes' time. So do stick with us there. I will try and work out these points as I go. And we shall see how it all turns out. Of course, these will be unofficial because if there's any penalties or any stewards' inquiries, they'll be dealt with after the Japanese Grand Prix. So it will be very much unofficial. But let's see how it's all panned out then. So, by my calculations then, excuse me, by my calculations, it looks like VSR are on top with 77 points, VRT in second 72, that's a gap difference of 5 points. Livid are in third on 40 points. Mentalism are in fourth with 37 points, and R70 are fifth with 12 points. So you can see there, pretty close between the top two, the middle two, and then R70, well, they just never really recovered from their qualifying, unfortunately. But of course, there's still 3 rounds to go, and that is something that they'll be holding on to. So those are your standings right now. Of course, like I said, they are unofficial, very unofficial, but that's what we're working with so far. So let's hope for more of the same as we head towards the Japanese Grand Prix. And if you must know how I'm trying to work this out, you never will. I'll never tell you. But it's all about working out the points and trying to get some quick maths in here, which never ends well for me, not at all. But we shall see what happens next. But hopefully you are enjoying tonight's evening's proceedings. Tonight's evening's proceedings. There you go. Quote that. Get it trending on Twitter. Why not? And of course, make sure your favourite team know that you're here with the support in the chat then. Speaking of the chat, let's have a look. I wonder what's going on. yeah, just make sure you keep supporting your favourite team. Use their hashtag if you want to, especially on Twitter. That's where it's going to be picked up. Japanese Grand Prix will be getting underway, hopefully in just a couple of minutes' time. But just to give you a reminder of the scores on the doors, it is VSR on 77 with VRT on 72, Livid are on 40 with MNT on 37, and R70 there, I believe it was 12 points. It is 12 points. So those are your standings so far. But yes, so far so good. And we're going in towards the Japanese Grand Prix right about now. No hanging around anymore. Now that we've got the points sorted, we're going straight in towards the Japanese Grand Prix. Now, it's the only figure of 8 circuit on the F1 calendar, and originally opened as a Honda testing track. Never intended to be a racing track, just Honda's testing ground. But, well, someone obviously saw the track and said, you know what, that'd be great on the Formula 1 calendar. And so it was. Especially with legendary corners such as the Dunlop curve, the two Degner curves, and of course the legendary 130R. 130R, some people say it's lost its character over the years because as aeros pretty much advanced, it's become a flat out corner, whereas before drivers couldn't go there flat. And you have to remember that 130R is not the same corner that it was when it was first introduced. 130R literally means a radius of 130 degrees. So it was a much tighter corner than it is nowadays. And obviously due to a couple of fatalities at Suzuka, they had to make sure to shallow the corner in order for the cars to go a little bit quicker in there and make sure that it wasn't such a stress on the tyres that it could cause a blowout. But we're heading into the Japanese Grand Prix very, very shortly. And the first Grand Prix back in 1987 and has been a herald and a place to decide championships. It's going to be used for the second round of this championship here today. 5.807 kilometres with a race distance of around, I believe that's going to be 14 laps. We had 13 laps last time. I think it's 14 laps if memory serves me well, with an average race distance of around about, again, 72 kilometres. Lap record here, 130.983, set by Lewis Hamilton in the last season. And we're just waiting now for the drivers to make sure they've got all their setups on. This time we're riding on board with Forbes then as we make our way down the start-finish straight. The only DRS on the track here as we make our way all the way down towards Turn 1. Turn 1 is not the braking zone. Turn 2 then you have to brake and pretty much clip the curve there. So easy to lock up the brakes, especially the rear ones as you over-rotate through Turns 3, then through Turn 4. The undulation will really catch out a driver there if you're not careful. Through Turn 5, now on the way to Turn 6. It goes downhill. Then we go through the Dunlop curve at Turn 7, up the hill here, careful about catching the curve on the right hand side. Worn tyres can be a recipe for disaster there. In towards the Degner curves then, through Turn 8, then towards Turn 9. Turn 9, the track cambers towards the apex. You can carry a little bit more speed through there if you dare. Through Turn 10, then towards the hairpin of Turn 11. Again, the track banks towards the apex there. Try and hit that apex because it will help you on exit. Through the right-hander then of Turn 12, at a corner that seems to go on forever before the spoon curve of 13 and 14. The double left-hander here. You have to take this a lot slower than you realise here because you've got two apexes to hit. In through Turns 14 we go, then you go down the hill. As you can see there, Forbes getting a little bit onto the gravel there, but it looks like his lap's still valid for now as we make our way now on towards the legendary 130R. Flat out through here, through this left-hander. Try not to scrub off too much speed as you now head towards the Casio Triangle. Turn 16, 17 and 18. Slowing the car up there as you can see. That's an exploit there that the drivers can use. As we head now towards the start-finish line, it is Vasta Racer who puts it on pole position then, 27.058 with Casper second, Ashbest in third, LeBron then for Mentalism up into fourth place, but it's a VSR 1-2-3 for the Japanese Grand Prix. See, I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. Anyway, qualifying results then for the second round. Vasta Racer takes pole position ahead of Casper. 2 tenths separate them. Ashbest in third with LeBron in fourth. Chapalele, the first VRT car, in fifth place with Onyx in sixth. Donev, the first Livid car, in seventh with Forbes in eighth. Sam in ninth with Louis in 10th. Sam in 11th, Venting 12th. Deneen in 13th. Super Mario, the first R70 car, in 14th. Fire in 15th place, Sab in 16th, Kaiser 17th, Gabri 18th, Marvin in 19th, and Jordan rounds out the top 20 here with 16th all the way down, invalidating their lap times. And there is a driver substitution. Fira gets a look in here. I don't think he was in the previous race. I'll have to check back with that one. But as you can see there, some of the cars were 4 seconds, 7 seconds off. They knew that drivers had made mistakes out there. And they knew they had to just finish the lap and obviously get themselves up to 16th place. So at least they're some way up the order this time around. But we head towards now the Japanese Grand Prix. And, well, let's just say this. I love the Japanese Grand Prix. The only problem with it is there's not many overtaking opportunities. You have a move and a possibility down the inside at turn 11, the hairpin, which is a Kobayashi move. But if you're looking at turns 1 and 2, you really have to have a lot of faith in the other driver. The braking zone isn't at turn 1. There is no braking zone. You can take that flat. The braking zone is at turn 2 when you're already turning for turn 1. So it's a bit of an odd corner. It kind of reminds me, it sort of inspired the set of corners at Abu Dhabi, which I believe is 14, 15, and then into 16, where the braking zone is halfway through the corner. It's the same here at Suzuka nowadays, where you've got to do a little bit of trail braking in towards turn 2 to make sure you've got the car slowed down. Other overtaking opportunities, well, Casio Triangle is one, as long as you don't end it a la 1989 with Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna. As long as you don't do that, you've got a good chance of getting past someone there. And of course, the infamous bump on the final corner, which can really catch out a lot of drivers, especially if you've got your ballast to the front there and the rear tyre starts to over-rotate. They haven't got any weight to push them down. They haven't got enough downforce to keep them there. And the car just over-rotates the rear tyres and around you go. I remember back in, I think it was 2000, it was either 2007 or 2008, could have been a bit later than that, where Timo Glock crashed at the final corner there of the Casio Triangle. It ruled him out of the next race. So it was a pretty hefty whack there that Timo Glock had, straight into the wall. And of course it is a problem for the drivers there. They've got to be careful of that bump. It didn't necessarily catch out Glock, but it did catch out and has caught out me in many a career mode race. But let's see if the drivers here have set up their cars properly, because that's the main thing. I never set up the car properly. That's the problem. Top 10, obviously, you have to start on the tyre they qualified onto, the rule on old softs. You can see Semen venting on the medium tyres, Deneen there on the soft tyres, starting P13, with Mario, Fierer, Sab, Kaiser, Gabri, all on the medium tyres. Marvin then in 19th. He's starting on soft tyres, looking to try and just pick his way through the field. And Jordan then at the back of the grid on medium tyres. But Vasta Racer then takes pole position away from Casper. This time around, they swap positions. It is 13 laps here at the Japanese Grand Prix as we make our way onto the grid for the second round of the Vortex Racing Cup. Hopefully you are enjoying the action. Hopefully you'll stick with us for the Japanese Grand Prix. Don't forget, next week we're at USA and then we are at the Brazilian Grand Prix to round off this championship. But as the cars get lined up on the grid then, we are moments away from the Japanese Grand Prix and the second round of the championship. There you can see Marvin, and there is Jordan just in the picture at the top right of your screen there, just making his way towards the grid. And of course the VSR cars at the front here, the top three, just anxious to get underway. Let's see if they can extend their advantage. We was only a slender lead of 5 points away, and in true fashion, we've got the fake red lights to start with. They'll go out, then we have to work out when the clutches will be engaged. You can hear the engines rise. We are underway, and what are the starts like? It's a great start from everybody here as we make our way now down towards turn 1. It's a great start from Casper, who looks to get the inside move in towards turn 1 and takes the lead here of the Japanese Grand Prix. That is Onyx there running wide, and LeBron looks to try and take advantage. LeBron gets a side swipe there, unintentional of course, but it's caused problems all behind him. It's a Constantina effect. Donnev comes into the gravel there and finds himself onto the grass, and he's parked up. He's retired the car. Living a downer car already, and really they needed the points there. They're on 40 points. They want that lead and advantage over Mentalism, and now they're only going to score 3 sets of points for this race then. Casper still leads from Vasta Racer. Ash Best then looking at the side of the field he wanted to be on. Third place at the moment. Louis gets away past his teammate, but has that opened up an opportunity for venting up the inside there at the hairpin, looking to try and get the traction down. You can see on LeBron's car, he's got the damage on the left-hand side. He's going to struggle in the high-speed corners. The high-speed corner coming up next is, of course, Spoon Corner. So he's going to understeer here, is he? He's got it under control for now, but he might struggle, especially coming up to 130R then. Sab right behind Mario then. Mario's up to 14th place. As Vira up to 12th place as well. As R70 need to get a move on. So too does Jordan here. He's going round the outside of the Renault there as we make our way in towards 130R. And he's got the move done then as we head towards the Casio triangle. Onyx meanwhile going side by side with Shapalele. Onyx round the outside and he takes 4th place away from Shapalele. And now VRT have got to do something about this. VSR occupy the top 4 spots. Shapalele looking for a move up the inside but gets onto the curve and has to back out of it there and has to stay in 5th place. VRT then 5th, 6th and 7th with their other driver Jordan in 14th right now, but Ventink, Sem, Marvin and Gabri all into the pits then after that hectic first lap. Shapalele running in 5th place again, the leading VRT car to try and stop what might be a VSR domination here. That's the last thing VRT wanted. They're 5 points behind VSR right now, but they don't want to fall any further behind. They've got to capitalise and see if they can try and muster up those points. Meanwhile, then Shapalele is right on the back of Onyx here. Forbes on the inside of Sam here. That's another driver change. But you can see there Forbes backs out of a potential move. They don't want to be battling too much here, but maybe Forbes will just go over the radio and say, let me through, as we now make our way towards Spoon Curve. So Donev is our only retirement, the first retirement of the championship. And you've got to think that maybe he needed to stay in this race in order to score some valuable points for the team. Shapalele still putting pressure on Onyx here, but as he does that, the other VSR cars are running away. Casper leads from Vastaracer in 2nd, Ashbest in 3rd. Shapalele looking for a move up the inside of Onyx. There's not one that exists just yet, but Shapalele knows if he keeps putting Onyx under pressure, just like he did at the last round, he might come out on top. Jordan then is trying to dispatch drivers. He's now up to 12th place on a set of those medium tyres. Next up for him is Deneen, only 8 tenths ahead. Vastaracer still in 2nd place with Casper leading the way, looking to make it 2 out of 2 ahead of all of his teammates so far. Meanwhile then, Mentalism look like they've had a better start, 8th and 9th for the Toro Rosso part of the team. Meanwhile, Sab is in 13th, Marvin down in 18th place. Ventink meanwhile has got past Super Mario, but that's only because Mario's come into the pit lane and has now put on a set of tyres. Surely he's not going to go 11 laps on this set of tyres, surely not. Vastaracer has gained a lot on Ash Best there. I wonder if Best has just made a mistake somewhere because Onyx has closed in. Shapalele's fallen away from Onyx as well. Sam, meanwhile, is behind Forbes now. Forbes got the move done on him in the end. Now Louis is trying to close in on one of the VRT cars. That is of Sam up ahead as we head in towards Spoon Curve. Make sure, of course, you are giving your team all the support you can. Vastaracer half a second back from his teammate. Meanwhile, up ahead, you've got Sam trying to close in on Forbes as we make our way through 130R. You can see there, not many drivers, separated by a lot. Jordan, meanwhile, is right on the back of Deneen. Look at the straight line speed he's got then. Can he try and fight a move down towards the Casio triangle? No, he can't. He has to back out of it. Shapalele then comes into the pits, and of course, with 25% races, these pit stops for the short, soft tyre runners seem to come at you pretty much at full pace there. Jordan looks to get the move done on the livid car of Deneen then, and he gets the position done there. Jordan now up to 10th place, and his drive to try and move up the order is going well so far. 10th place for him. Onyx, meanwhile, in 4th place, trying to chase down his teammate of Ash Best. Forbes then has 2.7 seconds to try and gain on Onyx. Of course, Shapalele has just pitted in for a set of medium tyres. He's again trying this undercut. Didn't quite work out for him last time out at the British Grand Prix. Maybe it'll work for him here at the Japanese Grand Prix. There's your leader though, Casper, ahead of Vastaracer. Ash Best in 3rd with Onyx 4th. Louis has closed up to Sam here, and, well, he'll want to try and ruin VRT's day. I'm sure not intentionally, but the VRT cars have got to realise that the cars around them now pose a much more significant threat. VSR have got the top 4 spots at this moment in time. VRT need to respond. And the two Mentalism cars of Louis and LeBron doing well, 7th and 8th so far. And of course, they're in a little bit of a battle as well with Livid for third place at the moment. Obviously, it's too early to say that they're going to be battling for third place, but as the standings show, they are third place at the moment. Remember, VSR coming into this race 77 points, with VRT 72, Livid 40 points, Mentalism 37, and R70 on 12 points. Casper and Vasta Racer stay out meanwhile. That's going to put LeBron up to third place. Jordan now up to fourth. Let's see then how far the Williams is behind the Toro Rosso. Well, the answer is not very far at all. He's really done well in this first stint as Jordan to just dispatch the cars and just keep his wits about him. Meanwhile then, Ash Best coming out of the pit lane. Where, though, is Chapelele? There he is, and he's lost time here. He's still behind Onyx then, and making our way now through turn 2. Well, it's hard to tell if he's actually lost time. Just to correct myself there, he's on the back of Onyx still. Onyx is on colder tyres. Chapelele has had a chance to put them up to race temps, that's for sure. And if there was a chance for Chapelele to try and make the move stick, it was then, as we head through Dunlop Curve. But Onyx has rejoined just ahead of him. I can't see any VSR cars behind him, so the undercut has worked in terms of closing up, but it didn't work in terms of getting past the car ahead. Sem, meanwhile, for the Livid team, had to pit in early to repair some damages. He's in 14th place right now, trying to chase down Louis up ahead. Ventink here also had to pit in for repairs early on in this race. He's on the back of Sam, who's just pitted in for a set of medium tyres. Ventink then making his way through turn 12 and now onwards towards Spoon Curve. As you can see there, it's a little bit overcast over the entry of Spoon Curve. Could be some issues with track temperature at some point. Sab, meanwhile, looking to put the pressure on Deneen then as we make our way through the Casio Triangle and then down the hill over the bump. As Deneen comes into pit, so too does Sab then. Oh, he's got to be careful not to run into the back of the Haas there. He wants to get on with it there. Tried to pass the Haas going into the pit lane. Polska then will take the lead of this race. Casper just rejoining now. Where is he in relation to his teammate? There you can just see him. He's a speck of the distance ahead of his teammate Ash Best and Vasta Racer for that matter. So that's worked out brilliantly for the first 2 VSR cars. The second 2 obviously have lost a little bit of time. But Chapelele will not be happy at this at all with 4 VSR cars ahead of him. Sam, meanwhile, is behind Ventink, who had to pit in for damages earlier on in this race. He's on 4-lap old soft tyres, but we've got yellow flags at Sector 1, and that's Kaiser who's around, and Marvin just about avoids him. But Kaiser, they're not sure what happened, but he's rejoined, and he's down in 18th place at the moment. Sam trying to get some more points for VRT on the board as we now make our way on towards the hairpin here of turn 11. Just trying to keep his cool now to try and find a way past. Ventink here looking to try and extend that gap as much as he can. He's on soft tyres, remember. And Sam here looking to try and get this move done. He knows this is valuable points on the line here. And with VSR occupying the top 4 spots, Sam knows this move is as important as ever. In the slipstream he'll be as we head towards 130R. Over that crest and then towards the long and fast left-hander of 130R. Flat out through here, no matter what tyres you're on. You can see Sam here turning, or you could hear the engine not just at full power just yet. That means the ERS wasn't turned up at its full. As we now make our way down the hill. Jordan, of course, leading the way, but he is yet to stop in this race. Interesting to see where he will rejoin after all this is said and done. He's got 4 VSR cars behind him. He'll be hoping that this strategy is the one that works out. Started from P20 in this race on a set of the medium tyres. Has done really well to find his way through the field. Through the first dead in a curve he goes. And towards the second one. Sam, meanwhile, still trying to find that way past Ventink here. Forbes is behind Chapelele. And the VRT cars have got to make a decision. Do they go through or do they not? Then in towards Degner 1, then towards Degner 2. The decision they've got to try and find out is, do they let Forbes through or does Chapelele remain the lead VRT car? There you can see Sam making his way in towards the hairpin. And still trying to find that way past Ventink right now. Ventink on old soft tyres. As we now make our way through turn 12. That looks like a team order to me, and it is. Forbes is now ahead of Chapelele. And Chapelele has basically said, it's your turn. Go get him. Let's have a look. Ventink then still in 8th place. He'll try and get these tyres to the end. I don't know how successful that is going to be. As we now make our way onwards now towards the 130R. All the way through here. Sam's got a really good run on Ventic. He moves to the left-hand side now. Is this going to be a move for 7th or 8th place? Sam goes a long way around here. Over the curve. They're still side by side. Venting holds the inside line. Loses that back end slightly. They're still running side by side. But that looks like Sam, who's got the move done then. Who has the DRS? Neither of them do. But still in the slipstream. Venting goes to try and get a move done. And no way through. Sam has got the move done. Meanwhile, that's Louis trying to move up the inside. Makes contact with the Haas of Sem. And Louis gets the move ahead. But meanwhile, Firer just got that move done. 2 positions whilst Louis and Sem were making contact. So an R70 car now up into the top 10. Chapalele trying to keep close tabs on his teammate right now. Meanwhile, Onyx wants to try and grab 3rd place in this race. So Venting now has got Firer behind him. And Firer here on a set of soft tyres. 3-lap old soft tyres compared to Venting's 6-lap old soft tyres as we head away in towards the hairpin here. I just wonder how long those tyres on Venting's car are going to last. As you can see, Firer right now, the lead R70 car in 9th place. They do need a good result to get themselves back into contention as they make their way through the spoon curve, that double left-hander. And the Ferrari here of Firer now going down the hill and trying to chase down the Mercedes of the livid car of Venting. Louis is not far behind, but the contact between Louis and Sem then in the first part of the last lap will certainly raise some eyebrows. We'll have to see how that develops after this race. As you can see there, they're running in tandem at the moment as we make our way down the hill across that bump. Oh, Venting lost the back end. Firer had to take evasive action. That could be a run that the Ferrari needed then. Down the long straight then towards the first corner. He's got the inside line. Can he hold on to it? Still side by side they go. Venting is going to go the long way around. Firer gets the inside line, loses the back end slightly. That's going to allow Venting to try and get a nose up the inside. But the Ferrari then moves up to 8th place. Venting just getting it all lost under that little bump there on the exit of the final corner. And Sem's out of the race. Or Sem's out, sorry, no, he's left the session. He hasn't left it, he hasn't retired. He's just left the session. So where is Sem there? Out on track, he's 12th place. Now he's got to rejoin. Now, my assumption and my understanding of the rules is you have to be in control of the car when you cross the start-finish line in order to score the points. So to me, Sem has rejoined. So it was just an unintentional disconnect, which is unfortunate. But that's going to hand Mario a position. It could hand LeBron a position as well, which it does. Lap 9 here. That's the last thing Sem wanted, especially after that contact. He wanted to get down and put his head down and just get more positions if he could. That disconnection is not going to help him at all. Ash Best running behind his teammate, running in tandem at the moment. Forbes, meanwhile, 2.6 behind. And Kaiser is out then. 19th place for him. And he has retired on his own accord because the car's still moving out there. Louis gets a 5-second grid penalty, or a 5-second penalty for cutting the corner there. And, well, that's going to be something that gets him at the end of the race. And Firer gets the move done then on Sam. And Firer is on fire. Well, he would have been if he hadn't have run wide at turn 2. And now he's under pressure from Venting once again as we make our way through in towards that S section. And Firer now is just got to work up his composure again to try and find a way past Sam. And R70, this is a result they needed. They want this one as we make our way through Dunlop Curve. LeBron then is now trying to close in on Mario then in 12th place. So we've lost a livid car in this race. We've lost an R70 car in this race. So 18 runners at the moment. Remember, you have to finish the race to score the points. So for Kaiser and Donev, they will not be scoring points for their respective teams. Ash Best on the back of his teammate Onyx. They had swapped positions earlier on in this race. Meanwhile, Firer, this is going to be a great battle to the end of the race as we make our way through Spoon Curve. Sam picks himself up a 3-second time penalty. We won't look at penalties just yet, otherwise we could miss out on the action. I'm in control of the camera. We've already missed half the action, that's for sure. LeBron on the back of Super Mario. Firer, meanwhile, on the back of Sam. Through 130R we go. Still right on the back of the rear wing there. You can hear that he turned down the ERS then in towards the Casio triangle, so no move there for the Ferrari so far. Maybe he'll prioritise The start-finish straights are very, very short. DRS straighter. It's one of the shortest on the calendar. Firer looking for a move. Sam defends the inside then. Firer has to go the long way round. And has he got the move done this time? Yes, he has. He doesn't run wide through turn 2. And Firer now up to 7th place. Meanwhile then, LeBron round the outside then of Mario then. He's got that move done. And LeBron moves up a position into 12th place he goes. Sem is on the back of Sab here as we make our way through the S's. Super Mario just up ahead has just lost out in a position. Meanwhile, Jordan is right behind Louis here as he looks for a move up the inside there. Now on the outside of the Degner curves. This is not where you want to be. As we make our way in towards Degner 2, they touch. Louis around at Degner 2 there. And he's got to wait now for all those cars to go through. 2 into Degner 2. Doesn't normally work. It hasn't worked this time either. And Louis now drops a ton of positions now. Down to 15th place he'll go. Ashbest getting a little bit wayward there on the exit. Marvin gets a move on his teammate there, but now Deneen wants to try and get some more positions and more points for Livid there. Making our way now down towards 130R. Bentink now wants to move on Sam as he makes his way now through 130R. Lap 12 of this race then. 2 laps to go. And Bentink here making our way now in towards the Casio Triangle. Chapalele in 6th place. 6/10 down on his teammate. Meanwhile, Mario and Sab are going hammer and tong in towards the Casio Triangle. Mario holds on for now as Sab has to go around the outside. We've got a yellow flag at 130R. It's Deneen who's around. Meanwhile then, Sab looking for a move on Mario then as we make our way in towards turn 1. You can see Mario's just about holding on for now against the Mentalism car of Sab then as we make our way now in towards those S's now. Sem is not too far behind. A disconnection will be a hugely frustrating Japanese Grand Prix for him. But he's got to try and get past these 2 cars and get some points for Livid Racing. They're only going to get 3 sets of points for this race, of course. Casper then still leads. Vasta Racer 2nd, Onyx 3rd, Ashbest 4th, Forbes in 5th, with Chapalele 6th, Fire in 7th, with Sam in 8th. Meanwhile, Sem, has he got a move done on Sab? Yes, he has. And Sem now for Livid moves up to P13. He's now got Mario ahead of him in one of the R70 cars. Can he try and now find that way past? Ventic, meanwhile, still on the back of Sam. Still looking to try and apply that pressure. He's on the soft tyres, but he's on 10-lap-old soft tyres. Ashbest, meanwhile, still looking to try and work together with his teammate. Onyx there. Of course, they did swap positions earlier on in this race. Chapalele and Forbes might run into the same issue later on in this race. That strategy of letting Forbes through there didn't quite work. 5-second penalty for Sam there for exceeding track limits. Now that's a straight slap on the wrist for 5 seconds there. Meanwhile, venting into the slipstream of Sam then as we make our way now on towards turn 1. Venting will have to go around the outside here. Now up the inside. No way through for him though. Louis is now retired for the session, so 3 sets of points now for Mentalism. Venting here still now under pressure from Jordan as we make our way now in towards turn 5, then through turn 6, and then onwards then towards turn 7. As you can see there, Venting under a lot of pressure. Jordan here gets the better exit. He runs slightly into the back. There you can see that's the reason why Venting has damage to that front wing. So that's why he couldn't really put up a fight through the high-speed corners there, especially the S's where it relies on downforce so heavily. Casper then making his way through the spoon curve, leading this one. Not long to go now. Chapalele is closing in on his teammate. Fire, meanwhile, 7th place from him. A great drive from the R70 driver, and not long to go now. Sam gets a couple of slaps on the wrist as well. He'll have to watch out for his penalties towards the end of the race then. Venting still on the back of Jordan. He's not done yet on those 10-lap-old soft tyres. In theory, they shouldn't be anywhere near. But meanwhile, Casper comes across the line to take win 2 out of 2. Vasta Racer in 2nd place then. Onyx will come across the line in 3rd, with Ashbest crossing the line in 4th place. Let's have a look and see what's going on here. Venting looking for a move down the inside of Polska, then in towards the Casio Triangle. You would think then that the Williams has the better traction. Venting is going to be side by side between the 2 of them. It's going to be a photo finish for 9th place, and that is it. Venting moves ahead then. Sam moves down to 9th, and it's all going to be shuffle around as the penalties start to be applied. But that was a great battle to the line there between those guys. And that is the second race pretty much wrapped up. We're just waiting for Deneen then to cross the line to wrap up tonight's proceedings. Of course, rounds 3 and 4 in 2 weeks' time. But, well, the VSR, go on, guys. I've got positions 1, 2, 3, and 4. There's going to have to be a serious assessment from VRT there into what went wrong. Unfortunately for them, it just didn't quite happen in this Japanese Grand Prix. But it's a VSR who are locking out the front 4 positions. And it would have been a great performance there from Jordan. He did really well at the start to just get his way through the field and almost lost a chunk of time in that pit lane. And unfortunately for him, it just didn't quite work out for him this time around. But of course, it comes down to me now to try and work out the unofficial points. And it will be my job to try and keep you in the loop for these unofficial results then here for the second round and the Japanese Grand Prix. So it is Casper who wins the race, Vastaracer second, Ashbest in third, with Onyx in fourth. It is Forbes in fifth, with Shapalele in sixth. You see, I'm trying to do these points as I go. Fyra in seventh place, and that's going to score R70's top points so far. Ventink there in eighth place. That's 13 points. Super Mario in 9th, so that's going to be 12 points. Sab in 10th place, so that's 11 points. Sam is in 11th place, which is 10 points, I believe. It's going to be Jordan in 12th, which is 9 points. It's going to be LeBron in 13th, which is 8 points. It's going to be Sem in 14th, which is 7 points. Marvin in 15th there. That's going to be 6 points for him. 5 points for Gabri. 4 points for Deneen. 3 points for... In fact, no 3 points for Louis, because he didn't finish the race. But it would have been 3 points. Would have been 2 points for Kaiser there, but he retired from the race, and would have been a single point there for Donev, but he did not finish the race. So there, I won't count those points because normally those rules apply. But let's have a look now at what the standings look like at the end of tonight. Of course, they will be unofficial results, but I can tell you that VSR scored the maximum 99 points in this race. So that is going to be a huge thing for other teams to really rise to next time out. VRT scored 53 points in this race. By my calculations, Livid scored 24 points. Mentalism, they scored 25 points, so they just edged Livid there. R70, let's have a look here. You can hear me working away here. They scored 31 points. So let's have a look at how it all shapes up so far as we work my way through this one. Of course, these are very, very unofficial results at the moment. I can tell you the gap between Livid and M&T has come down. And a good haul of points for R70 as they make their way up the points scoring sheets. But, okay, so by my calculations at the end of the first round, it is VSR at the top there, 176, with VRT in second, 125, Livid Racing in third on 64, Mentalism on 62, and R70 with a much better second round on 43 points. But of course, they are very much unofficial. That's my maths, which has more often than not let me down in the past, but that's what I've worked it out to be, so that's what we'll go with right now. So the question is, can anybody catch VSR going into 2 weeks' time? Make sure you rejoin us for the 20th of May when we head to the USA and Brazil to round off the Vortex Racing Cup. I hope you've enjoyed tonight. Make sure you follow all the teams in the background there. And if you really want to, you can follow me as well on Twitter. It is at KS McGinley. But thank you very much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Until then, I've been Kieran McGinley. You've been watching. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.